Yeah, so let me just explain for the folks part of the context here and why I selected these two and the points I'm trying to make. That when Adam told me, folks, that this, the Dark Knight Returns was in his mind like the transition from the Batman's comic books being kind of campy and silly and whatnot, and certainly not mature and gritty, but it's like, hey, he's the Dark Knight, like something, and that the origin story is horrific, right? Like that,
Horrific.
we were kind of joking around about it, but I mean, yeah, Batman is a messed up, thing. And I said to Adam, oh, that's interesting because I noticed that like with the, is it the Warner Brothers, like the Cartoon Network, I think that the later cartoons that you'll see, if you're so inclined, where it's not just that Batman is grittier. And I'm talking about the stuff, folks, that's like on TV, like the kids could watch. It's not just that it's more mature and whatnot, but also it's clear in the writing that the writers just think Batman is the coolest guy ever. Whereas I was like, I don't remember that being the case in the old Super Friends that I watched as a kid. Like Batman was cool, but it wasn't like every episode went out of its way to let you know that, no, there's a sense in which Batman's cooler than Superman. He's like so cool. And like, if you could just be anybody, you'd want to be Batman, right? I just never know that. Like, it just, that screams out at you from these more modern cartoons where they, just to give one example, we didn't grab the clips, but just to give one example, Adam, there's one where they, the heroes, I forget what I think it's called Justice League. They get, some bad guy who's not talking and Batman's not around. He's off doing something. And Superman's like got him in the interrogation room in the Hall of Justice or whatever they call it in that show. And Superman's threatening him, but he's doing it like, in a real non-threatening way because it's Superman. And the guy goes, "What are you going to do? Give me a super wedgie, you big Boy Scout?" And then Superman's like, "How does Batman do it?" Right? And then in a different one, it was a good interaction showing everybody's powers that, they grab some guy and he's mouthing off or whatever. And there's like, "Who hired you?" Superman's got the guy by the arms or something. And he's like, "I'm not telling you." And then Wonder Woman says, "Well, you better." And then he looks at her and he's like, "What's in it for me?" Right? So it's like lascivious right there. So that's kind of funny. And then Batman, of course, partly because the guy's hitting on Wonder Woman, he gets jealous. He comes over and he's like, "Let me handle this." And of course, Superman just lets go because after all, it's Batman. He takes orders from Batman in this show. And Batman walks the guy over and says, like you can just hear him whispering. And the guy's like, oh, Lex Luthor hired me and he gave me this and his hideout is blah, blah, blah. And then Wonder Woman says to Superman, "What did he say?" And Superman just goes, "You don't want to know." Right. So that's it because Superman's got super hearing so he could hear. So anyway, it was a very clever scene, but I'm just showing again, whenever something can't get done, Batman just shows up and solves it in these newer ones. Whereas, as we'll show in these clips, that is not the case.
That's hilarious. Not